A really good crowd. That all kind of just settled by itself. So we're just doing a quick little last minute AV check, and I think once we get the thumbs up, we're going to be good to go. So good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the port, lovers of the ocean. Thank you for joining us here today. Very happy to have you here. We're going to begin with a quick pledge of allegiance. So if you don't mind, please stand and put your hand over your heart as we look to the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. My name is Adam Vega. I'm the Community and Legislative Specialist here at the Port of Hueneme. And on behalf of our organization, I'd like to welcome you to the Channel Islands Maritime Museum, and thank you for joining us today for this monumentous occasion. We're thrilled to announce the completion of our zero-emission blueprint, a significant milestone in our community's commitment to environmental sustainability and clean air initiatives alike. So before we get upstairs and enjoy a great program for World Oceans Day, I'd like to invite our board president, Selena Zacarias, to open the press conference for us and share some few words with a few of our port partners. Thank you.
Good morning. It just gives me such a pleasure to see so many of you out here supporting World Oceans Day. Welcome to the kickoff of World Oceans Day, an event with our exciting press conference announcement. I'm sure you're all excited to hear about it. My name is Selena Zacarias, and I have the pleasure and honor of serving as your board president for the Port of Hueneme Board of Harbor Commissioners. This morning I'm joined with some amazing staff, so please give them a big round of applause. It is my privilege to be here with you to open up our press conference to unveil, notice blue, print to Zero Emission Initiative. This moment marks a critical step in our commitment to environmental sustainability and climate action. In 2021, Port of Hueneme was awarded funding by the California Energy Commission to develop a comprehensive zero-emission blueprint of on-port cargo operations. The blueprint included detailed technical analysis assessing zero-emission fuel needs and volumes and cost of future implementation, and more of that you'll hear from later on from Giles, our expert. Thank you to the California Energy Commission for seeing the Port of Hueneme as a leader in the port decarbonization space and providing critical funding to bring the Port of Hueneme's vision and your vision to decarbonization on one step closer to reality. And I said your vision because this is something that we are working on together. The results of this study from the California Energy Commission would not have been possible without the steadfast support of our local, state, labor, and community partners. A huge thank you to all of our partners and elected representatives who are here with us today. And just to name a few, we have from the Office of Congresswoman Julia Brownlee, Anthony Avila. From the Office of Congressman Salud Carbajal, Amisha Dian. Director of Communications from the Office of Assembly Member Steve Bennett, Michelle Sevilla. From our City of Oxnard, our Mayor, Mr. John Zaragoza. From the City of Port Hueneme, we have Martha McQueen-Lejeune, Mayor Pro Tem, City of Port Hueneme. We have Laura Hernandez, City Council Member, City of Port Hueneme. We have with us James Vegas, City of Port Hueneme City Manager. We have Karen Grennan, the Public Information Officer for the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District. One of our amazing partners, I saw him around here, Martin Erickson from VCTC. Another great partner, Jeremy Goldberg, Executive Director of the Central Coast Labor Council. Another amazing labor partner, Mr. Anthony Mireles, Business Manager and Secretary Treasurer of Liuna Laborers. And of course, Joshua Medrano, Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Tri-Counties Building and Construction Trade Councils. And I want to thank you all for being here. This would not all be possible without you walking by our side. That is so critical that we continue this journey together. We want to become one of the first United States ports to be zero emission for cargo handling operations. But you know what? We can't do it alone. And I want you all to please promise to stay by our side. Thank you so much. And at this time, I'd like to introduce someone that needs no introduction, and that is our amazing Port CEO and Port Director, Kristen Dekas. Notice the blue.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank Doug Griffinberg for opening the doors of the museum here, Channel Islands Maritime Museum. What a better place to celebrate Ocean's Day. What a better place to celebrate Ocean Days and our announcement towards decarbonization. I'd also like to take this opportunity. A lot of sweat and tears have gone into building this blueprint to decarbonization. If my staff could all stand up, take a bow. Giles is with the lead, and Giles Peter is our environmental manager. Nobody shy our CFO. I see Letitia, all of you wave. Adam for putting together a stellar program. I'm really excited for your hard work that has been behind today's events. I see Elizabeth in the background there. Hannah, raise your hands, everybody. We got interns here. Meryl Glass has joined our team in the community department. Lou, Stella Rodriguez is just awesome in everything he does for our community. So thank you, staff and team, for making today's reality happen. And I think what's particularly exciting today to announce about our decarbonization plan is actually a date. So we're looking to bring zero emissions to the Port of Hueneme by the end of year 2030. And what that entails is delivering a zero emission solution for all of our handling equipment and for our vessels at berth when they're either plugged in or have emission control systems, or for our fleet of vehicles. There's still more work to do in the trucking area and in bunker fuel, but we're working hand in hand with our wonderful customers who are all here today, many of who are here today to support us in this endeavor and are stepping up to support our application towards zero emission. I see Del Monte here, I see SSA here, customers raise your hand, I see Pacro here. All of you take a bow for your hard work. One of our parts of the zero emission transition is actually just put in an application to the EPA for $40 million to help transition all of our handling equipment that our stevedore companies use for zero emission solutions to plug in that equipment. We got a big grant recently from the state of around $80 million, which is leveraging that application, and the state's fighting hard to bring that funding back to California for ports like the Port of Hueneme. So we're thrilled to move forward in this endeavor. As the commissioner said, work hand in hand with our trades and with our community to come up with zero emission solutions and hopefully be the first in the USA to be a zero emission port because of the size of scale. I'm going to turn it over to our environmental master, if I may call him that, Giles Pettifor, to give a little more background on the blueprint and the hard work that went into that. Here you go, Giles.
Thank you. Well, I can't say this day hasn't been a while coming. You know, we've been working on this program, this plan, for more than 2 years. There's been a lot of conversations, a lot of thought, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears has gone into figuring this out. And the reason for that is in large part driven by the fact we wanted to get it right. As all of you know, we're in a state of crisis globally. We can't be in denial of the critical linkage between what is happening all around us and the role that the port plays in our community. We are in a state of crisis globally, and that is irrefutable. You know, despite what the politics say about it nationally and globally, we have to recognize Ventura County is feeling this stronger than almost anywhere else in the United States. Fastest warming climate, fastest warming county in the U.S. First location to have one of these new generation of massive megafires in 2017 with the Thomas Fire. We are seeing all of this, and we have a very, we're subject to a lot of challenge from climate. We have a lot of disadvantaged communities in our community. We have a lot of folks that haven't had the privilege and the benefit of being able to be informed about climate and have the tools with which to adapt. So the port, and through our board's leadership and Kristen's leadership, has enabled myself to be able to go out and ask questions, figure out what we can do about it. Because there's a really, really critical piece I want to describe in this whole plan. And that is taking this much larger global challenge of energy transition, right? We know intrinsically that the problem is the emission
of greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels. When you boil it down, that is the problem. Globally. How do we fix that? Well, we burn less fossil fuels. Well, how do we do that without massively disrupting the global economy? Our world in the United States is built around the consumption of stuff. That's just how it works. That is where 70% plus of our GDP comes from. And of that stuff, 90+% of that gets to the United States on a ship and then goes into this complicated, long slew of logistics steps to deliver a new gizmo or a trinket or a phone or a pair of shoes to someone's doorstep. And that whole entire process going from a factory somewhere in Asia to someone's doorstep in the Midwest right now is entirely built on fossil fuels. That is the reality. That is the world that we all are a part of. We have the convenience of a phone that drives our consumption. How do we begin to change this process? Well, we, the port, through the leadership of our board, said we are going to stand up and take responsibility for our pollution generation, and we're going to do our homework to say what we can do and when we can do it. And that when is really critical because a lot of other entities have arbitrarily thrown dates out there and said, we're going to put this date without really doing their homework to figure out if it's feasible. Well, I can assure you we have done our homework on this, and obviously funding is critical, but 2030 should be very realistic for us to achieve this. And we're really excited about what that means. But just back to this emissions piece, by transitioning the energy usage on the port from fossil fuels to electricity, right? This is really the big kind of take-home message. We can do the same thing with our cargo partners I see at the back. We can drive UTRs, we can operate cranes, we can move containers, we can drive cars, and we can use electricity to do that instead of fossil fuels. And that's a great message because battery electric equipment is, well, I'm not going to say affordable because it's still 3 or 4x over diesel, but that's the price we're paying. But it's commercially available and it's proven, and labor and our cargo partners are willing partners in doing all of this work together. So we can unpack the onion. There's so many layers to this that we can discuss, but that's really the take-home message. Is the port saying we are deciding to take the lead in doing this decarbonization locally. We want to be the guinea pig in Ventura County. We want to talk about the infrastructure that's needed. We want to talk about the equipment that's going to be changing. And then critically, we can't lose sight of this. It isn't just about GHG, it's also about pollution. Things like diesel soot. Diesel soot drives very bad health outcomes in many communities that are already burdened by a history of intentional pollution. We are beginning the process of reconciling for that history by saying very forthrightly that we need to change this and decrease emissions of DPM. And this plan is the sort of proof in the pudding of getting to that commitment, enabling that reduction in DPM locally. So that's kind of the oversight of it. I'm happy to talk to any of you, answer any questions as we go into this. There's a ton to unpack in this, what we did, but I appreciate all of your attention in this space, and we are very excited for what the next, 6.5 years are going to bring us, because I want to meet with all of you again in 2030. Hopefully we can do it on port, and we can look at this beautiful orchestra of cargo movement that is happening without emissions. So thank you very much, and happy to answer any questions.
And as many of our speakers mentioned before, this isn't something that can happen just by us and ourselves. It takes a community and a commitment from that community to make it happen. So I'd like to invite some of our partners who have been making that happen for us to share a few remarks and even present a few certificates and proclamations. So I'd like to begin with inviting Anthony Avila.
So, on behalf of Congresswoman Julia Brownlee, I have a certificate of congressional recognition for the Port of Hueneme.
for ACR 210 as it moves through the Assembly throughout the rest of this month. And we would like to continue our gratitude, thank you to the leadership of the Port of Hueneme for continuing to lead the way for California and the West Coast on what it means to be a forward-thinking port. On behalf of the California State Assembly, collaborate and reduce air pollution for not surrounding communities. Thank you.
Kind of like a magician coming from behind the curtain. Right? Yeah, you guys like that one. Wasn't expecting it. Nothing up my sleeve. Okay, next from the Ventura County Transportation Commission, Executive Director Martin Erickson.
Well, good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. What a fantastic day. Looks like we went straight from kind of May gray into early June gloom, but that's okay because, and I did get the blue memo. Martin Erickson, Executive Director of Ventura County Transportation Commission, and I just wanted to emphasize what an honor it is to be partners with the Port of Hueneme, and Chair Zacharias, Kristen. Your leadership of this organization in many ways makes my job easier. But the Transportation Commission, we represent all of Ventura County, and I want to recognize Mayor Pro Tem Lejean, one of our members representing the Port of Hueneme. A little over a year ago, the Commission adopted a strategic plan for 5 years, and one of our top goals was just continuing our successful partnerships with so many different agencies. All 10 cities in Ventura County, the County of Ventura, and the Port of Hueneme, which really is, in many respects, one of our most important partnerships when it comes to issues like cleaning the air. And we've had a long partnership with them. And I want to emphasize that it's sometimes easy to be big on rhetoric, low on results when you're talking about these type of programs. The Port, on the other hand, big on results, but they also do a good job on the rhetoric side. Whether it's the shoreside power grants that VCTC was fortunate enough to provide to them, most recently over $10 million just a year ago, and then last year, Kristen and I think when we added up together, we had over $200 million of state funding to our agencies, respectively. I think the Port had a little more, but we were close. But that is money that is going toward cleaning the air, toward making our community better. And again, I am just so honored to be partners with them and to be here today to celebrate this day with you. Thank you.
I know, I got it out of
It's another 1.4 million you failed to mention. It's 11.4 million.
Look like you're reaching for a check size.
Reaching for a check.
And none of this would be possible without the men and women whose labor helps build these projects and bring these transitions into fruition. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Executive Director of the Central Coast Labor Council, Jeremy Goldberg.
Thank you. My name is Jeremy Goldberg. I'm the Executive Director of the Central Coast Labor Council. Central Coast Labor Council is a coalition of 75 unions that represent workers in industries and sectors all across the Central Coast, in Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. And as you'll hear from some of my other colleagues who represent the workers that are going to come onto the port and really build this port of the future, the Port of Hueneme has like, it's almost surprising sometimes when you talk about the port and the port staff with people outside of this community, like their leadership in this space, their commitment to being a key driver of our local economy, their commitment to being a model employer of a substantial local workforce. And as the state of California steams forward ensuring that citizens have cleaner air, water, and oceans, the Port of Hueneme has taken a clear and industry-defining leadership role in thinking about their true impact on the world around us. The Port of Hueneme is thinking through and preparing for the most important economic environmental challenges of our lifetimes. Electrification and the change to green fuel sources will create thousands of jobs for local residents. It will require coordination of every level of state, local, and federal government, and most importantly, and ultimately, result in more livable and healthy communities. The Central Coast is an energy-producing region. Over the years, our economy has been buoyed by high-quality, good-paying, middle-class jobs in and around the energy production sectors. As we turn the page to a massive expansion of renewable energy, we must all work together to pursue policies that continue this vision of healthy communities, robust economic opportunity, and good middle-class jobs for local workers. Thank you to the Port Commissioners, Port staff for their leadership. As they roll out the zero-emission blueprint, it's clear that the Port of Hueneme will continue to be a beacon of community leadership in the years to come. The Central Coast Labor Council is committed to working with the Port and our community partners to pursue this vision. Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna wait for the other guys.
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna have all the trades come together.
All right, let's get them up here. So from the Tri-Counties Building and Construction Trades, I'd like to invite Josh Medrano to share a few words.
All right. Well, I think it's afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joshua Medrano. I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Tri-Counties Building and Construction Trades Council, representing over 22 construction crafts as well as 16,000 hard-working individuals of the construction industry. When I got this invite, I want to tell you, not because it was me that was being invited, but I wasn't surprised that the Port was doing this. The reason I say that is because the Port have been tremendous stewards of the environment since its inception. I always encourage everybody to do their homework, so don't take my word for it. Go ahead, Google it, do whatever it is, ask Siri. But they really have. They really have. They've taken the responsibilities to heart. They have looked at themselves when most entities do not, to try to figure out how are we going to be part of the result and not part of the problem. Now, you heard about rhetoric earlier. There's a lot of organizations that do a lot of rah-rah, sis-blah. They have these events and then nothing comes to fruition. That is not the case here with the Port of Hueneme. Their staff, the commissioners, everybody involved, from janitorial to the docks, all the way up to admin, they have all stayed steadfast together with their vision to bring zero emissions to the county. Now, representing such a territory as Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties, as you can imagine, I get to travel the Gold Coast and I get to visit different places. The Port of Hueneme has always set themselves apart and have stood head over shoulders against not all departments, but hey, they're pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. Now, they have been the ones to bring forth project labor agreements, community workforce agreements, because they understand the need for local hire provisions Most entities do not do that. They allow out-of-towners to come in, they bring their workers and bless them. They all need to put food on the table. But the port said, you know what? We do enough importing. Let's go ahead and put all our people to work here. Okay, all people. Thank you. No, but this is coming from the heart. It really is. Growing up a stone throws away here in the Colonia, having family that has been in the Port of Hueneme, selfless plug for the Tirado family at La Especial Bakery off of Perkins and Hueneme Road. I grew up there, right? I grew up there, so we saw a lot of the port workers coming on in. And speaking to my tias and my tios over there, if it wasn't for the port, they wouldn't be able to create that generational wealth. And most people figure that the only ones making money are the ones that are on the port. That is not the case. It overlays, it branches out. It goes from the port all the way across to Simi Valley, all the way up north to Santa Barbara. Everybody benefits from this port, even globally. Think about that. Our little community here, these commissioners just traveled, I believe, to Japan. My goodness, this little piece of the Gold Coast is represented across the world. Let that sink in. So we would like to thank the port for being steadfast in their convictions to bring zero emissions, because the building trades has been at the forefront of that technology and implementation to a just transition, not a replacement, a just transition, so that we have a 1-to-1 ratio of individuals that are going from what they used to do to teaching old dogs new tricks and going into something new. Why? Because we have to continue to build that generational wealth. And as an example, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out my son, who is here to witness this occasion, who's part of that generational wealth. I love you, son, and I'm proud to be your papa for you and your sister and your other siblings. Appreciate you being here, son. But that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about the future. We can go ahead and collect our money. We can go ahead and collect our checks. We can get, grants and all this stuff. But in the long run, if our children cannot benefit in some way, then we're doing it wrong. So the Port of Hueneme, commissioners, staff, thank you. Thank you for being those stewards. Thank you for continuing to work, not amongst yourselves, but with the community that you represent. Thank you for your time.
And representing Liuna Local 585, I'd like to invite Anthony Mireles.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Mireles, Business Manager, Labor's Local 585. We represent about 1,000 workers that work in the community here. Most of all, one of the things I like to thank the port is providing the jobs and the training. So one of my other roles is the Workforce Development Board. So we're looking at a partnership with the Workforce Development Board for clean energy jobs. And how do we use this as a catalyst for the rest of the county? So I just want to applaud them for what they're doing, for giving us the support to do what we're doing for the county and how it's going to impact the rest of the county. So I'm going to keep it short, and I just want to thank them. And thank you, everybody, for showing up.
And as we conclude, I'd like to invite our representative from our neighbor to the north of Office Salud Carvajal, Amisha Dayan.
Hi everyone. I'm gonna keep this short because everyone's remarks were just there's so many wonderful, more eloquent things said, but I just wanted to echo as well from the Office of Congressman Carvajal. Congratulations for all of the work that's being put behind this vision. I mean, truly, I really resonated with remarks being said about this is about our future for our children. I mean, June 6th is my daughter's birthday. I mean, it really, truly is just an incredible moment for us as a community to come together and figure out a way to move forward for them. It's for someone who's lived here in this community, in the Oxnard community, been to schools in the Hueneme area, I mean, Salud as well, and he grew up in the Colonia area. It's beyond impactful for the future generations. So congratulations for this wonderful step forward for our community. I have a certificate for you all, but thank you all so much. I didn't get the blue memo. I didn't really want
And everyone, that concludes our press conference. Thank you for joining us here. I'd like to invite you inside. As you enter, you'll see some tasty and refreshing refreshments provided by DJ's Catering. So grab a few bites and make your way upstairs. We can get started with our World Oceans Day program for you. Thank you again.